Hello, uh, this is Miss Andrea, and today I've decided to do some questions and answers for the homeschool curious. This is a live stream. I do live streams to take out a lot of the editing work, in all honesty. I also do live streams just in case someone should wander along and want advice. I am here. Please ask for it. I'm a homeschool veteran of almost 20 years. That means I homeschooled, I graduated, and I stayed around to help others. So, until someone asks me a question, I am going to read some questions and answers from my local homeschool families. Okay? And so let's just start here. Someone asked the following question. Um, for middle school kids, I really want to homeschool my kids, but I don't think I'm qualified for many subjects, especially higher grades. So I am looking for teachers or tutors who can help me with teaching kids. Is this the way to do so when parents are not good enough to teach? Any recommendations? Thanks. Um, so that's the question. Should I hire tutors and teachers where I feel inadequate? I made a video 2 days ago that said the first thing homeschool parents need to know is when you don't know something so that you can find, pay, hire, bribe, barter someone to step in and help you. So here's some of the answers that some people gave to this question of, should I hire people to help me homeschool when I feel inadequate? Someone said, first of all, you are your child's best teacher. Second, there are many curriculums laid out there for you where you can learn right along with your children. Okay. Um, True. Someone else said, yes, you are qualified. You are your child's best teacher. No one cares about your child's education more than you do. The great thing about homeschooling is that you can learn or relearn right along with your child. Okay, someone finally said, yes, this is the right thing to do. While you know and care the most about your child and their education, it is true that there are times that seeking a tutor is the right thing to, whether that's because it's stressful or frustrating to one or both of you, or you don't really understand the material yourself. Hiring a tutor is a great option for homeschoolers. In fact, I've specialized and personal tutors available. Um, Having specialized and personalized tutors available is one of the best aspects of homeschooling. Ding, ding, ding. And then some people go and try to sell her tutoring services, but most people are like, nah, you could do it yourself. And then someone offered her a link to a homeschool curriculum that I hate because it is just, you know, a syllabus of things that y'all should learn with links out all over the internet. Any moment, those links could break. And the person relying on that curriculum is then left finding, that resource themselves. So, if you decide to teach homeschooling and you feel completely inadequate, please reach out and just say, hey, can someone help me? Or find me someone who can help me with Spanish, math. Most homeschoolers, most um, need math tutors. It is what it is. Math has changed. Um, some smaller, a much smaller amount, maybe 25%, could use a writing teacher when they get to middle and high school. I've used all kinds. So that's the answer to question number one. Yes, if you feel stuck, if you feel scared, hire a tutor at least until you get through that hump, or barter a tutor, or trade services with another homeschooler. I've seen many homeschool families where one teaches both families math and the other teaches both families language arts or history or science. Okay. Ah, here's a really good one. Um, it says, I really want to homeschool my kids, but I don't feel confident to make this decision. English is not my first language. I consider that get me at disadvantage to educate my kids at home. I can read, I can write, but I don't get a good pronunciation. And so I don't want my kids to learn this way. So clearly, there's just from the writing, there's a small language barrier. And I've read this before, so I know how this question went. This person um, has always taught Spanish at home, English in school. And now we know that all hell has literally broken loose. And so she wants to pull the kids home, but how does she still keep that balance where the kids get to speak English fluently? And the answer was that a lot of people said, I'll help, I'll help. And one person said, I need Spanish help, so let's trade services. Boom, right? There's that. Okay, here's another question. I need help figuring out how to teach my daughter. I'm hoping someone has in the group much more experience than I. A little Black history. I was a foster parent. My daughter is 11 now. She came to live with me when she was just 7, um, and she had never been enrolled in school. She was homeless and living in her grandmother's car. She was abused and neglected. She is ADHD, behavior problems. She was disturbance in school. She came back with a IQ of 71 when they tested her. She's adopted at age 8, and I'm skimming because this is too much personal information. Um, so, from what I can tell, someone adopted a Black child who has lots of issues. And the initial question was, oh, that wasn't a little Black history, it was a little back history. Ha 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 ha. So, what does she need? Basically, she wants to know how to help this ADHD child move into homeschooling because they're not ready for public school. Um, People are talking about getting her tested. Um, they're commiserating genetic conditions, neuropsychological evaluations, things like that. Um, for a child around 7 or 8 who has been to hell and back, um, I would take an unschooling approach to teaching this child. If you're not familiar with unschooling, that basically means not pushing them into a rigid curriculum, kind of following their lead to see what they want to learn. Um, and there's extreme unschooling, and then there's guided unschooling. I like guided unschooling, whereas I would have posters up with the alphabet. I would have educational games everywhere. I'd have as much visual information as possible available. And then I would lay around books and games that were very educational. And I would always like kind of Montessori ish, you know, Lee, guide the child. What do you want to do today? Which thing do you want to do today? And let them go from center to center, from thing to thing, and just keep them stimulated. And a year or two of that and a lot of special love and maybe some therapy might get them ready to move into a more structured homeschooling. Okay. Um, this person asks, tell me your easiest curriculum for boys in the second and fourth grade. I don't think I will be able to handle virtual schooling our county is rolling out. Supposed to start on Monday, but I am just overwhelmed. This has been my biggest hurdle. I don't know what curriculum to choose. First year homeschooling, um, and you're homeschooling because of COVID and because you don't want to bring them into school and you don't want to do the digital homeschooling because you already know it's going to be overwhelming. Uh, Time for Learning is $20 a month. Um, it's pretty complete. It's pretty complete. And if you decide to put them back in school next year, they won't have any holes. It is a curriculum that I found years and years and years and years ago. And by the way, the price hasn't changed in 20 years, and I have like 3 reviews on my channel about that. Um, it's just a really good common core level, which means everyone across the country is kind of doing the same thing. So just put your kid in that grade, and it's a really very plug and play. If you want something that's not curriculum based, I suggest you purchase a book called What Your Second Grader Needs to Know or What Your Fourth Grader Needs to Know. It goes pre-K through 6. And it has a section on history things, a section on science things, and that's a much more relaxed approach. Just open the book, you do the readings, you look at the math that they're suggesting, you make some worksheets. You can get free worksheets online. Um, you do a science experiment or challenge, or just talk about something, or find a video to go with it, and you do some art. And that's how that book works. And I loved it my first year of homeschooling. Um, it's a very casual approach. Um, you're going to want to have to be diligent with it if you want to put the kids back in school the next year and not have them have any holes. Oh, this is an interesting question. Someone says, do you guys know if it is against some rule to retake a standardized test just after taking one? So my daughter completed her test, her required test recently, but tested lower than I believe she could, simply because she didn't have time to recheck her work. I actually reviewed some of her work with her after the fact, and she had no problem answering the problems correctly that she got wrong the first time. I would like to have her do another test, but I wasn't sure it was a no-no. In homeschooling, you can do what you want. You can do whatever you want. Um, if you're taking and in public school for high school standardized tests, you can do whatever you want. Your child can take the SAT all through 11th grade and all through 12th grade until you're satisfied with the score. So that's not a giant biggie. Take some more time, go over the test with them, call the company and buy another test set. No big deal. Why not make sure that the test reflects what the child can do? Now, if the child comes back a second time with poor test scores, you know you're dealing with a child with test anxiety at the very least. So then that's something you're going to need to address. And it's better to keep testing a child with test anxiety because familiarity helps get rid of that anxiety. I'm looking to see how much time I'm at. I have on my reading glasses, so while I can see this screen with questions, I can't see that screen so much with other things on it. And I just found the time. I'm at 14 minutes. I'm gonna go to 20. Okay, this is something else that I actually wrote a video. I actually made a video on. Okay, so I called both of my children's schools and told them I was withdrawing them. One of the schools said I would need to contact the Board of Education and that they don't deal with that at the school. They didn't even ask for my child's name. The other school told me they will let the county know he is withdrawing, and there is nothing else I need to do. I am concerned that they are wrong, and there's paperwork I should be filling out to officially withdraw them. I am thinking to be on the safe side that I should send a letter to withdraw them, certified mail, after I fill out the DOI, which is the form that our county and our state once filled out. I just want to make sure I have all my bases covered. Does anyone have suggestions? Um, yeah, by law, you only have to fill out the DOI, the Declaration of Intent to Homeschool, with the state. However, um, if the school sees that the child was enrolled and was never unenrolled, they may call the truant officer. I know because I had one on my steps. But I had the DOI, and I was like, "Here's the DOI," and he was like, "Cool," and I was like, "Cool, we're cool," and that was it. But if your spidey senses are saying the people at the school seem kind of shady, then yeah, write a letter and spend $20. Send a certified mail letter out. Boom, boom, boom. Send a copy to the school. Send a copy to the state, to the school district, and you are done. And now I'm just running into a bunch of homeschool memes. So yeah, I'm gonna skip that. That's a funny. People are asking, hey guys, does anyone know what site I can go on for free info and worksheets on animals? This is pre-K. Literally just Google search animals. It's that simple. Just Google search animals and they'll come up. Google search homeschool animals. Like there's so much free stuff on the internet that it is ridiculous. If you want to be creative, just trust the Google. Just trust the Google search. Wow. Last question. I'm less than a week into homeschooling my third grader, and I'm second guessing all of the decisions I've made to this point. I'm planning on sending my son back to public school as soon as it is feasible. So it is very important that I maintain the standards and stay on track with what the public school is doing. I've studied the standards and planned out the first week accordingly, but now I'm wondering if I should use a ready-made curriculum instead, simply due to the time and frustration of all the planning. Does anyone have recommendations for a reasonably priced curriculum that stays with state standards? I've seen Rebecca mentioned, but it's very costly for a temporary homeschooling situation. And some of the free ones don't seem to align to the standards. As follow-up questions, does anyone have any genius tricks for overcoming hysterics of, I can't do this when I know he can? I'm struggling with patience already. It's completely normal to freak out. The child's freaking out, you're going to be freaked out. But you stop what you're doing. If everyone's stressed, you take 5 minutes, an hour, a day off, and you come back the next day. Now, the child may use that as a means of control where they know they can pitch a fit and the homeschool day is ended. So don't make that a habit. However, if you're only homeschooling because you felt like you were pushed into it and you don't like it, I recommend you stop. With that said, she has to teach the child until it is safe to put the child back in school. Depending on what county she's in, she may only have this teacher-led digital learning right now because the K-12 and the other free online curriculum the schools are using are overbooked and they can't get in. And I hate that people are kind of bullying her on saying, well, homeschoolers do better in college, so maybe you should keep homeschooling. Don't ever do that to someone who doesn't want to be homeschooling. Homeschooling can only be done well by someone whose back is in it. For example, I cook okay, but if I don't feel like cooking, I burn everything. We don't want to burn everything, you know? So, what I would do in this case, someone's mentioning Common Core workbooks. Um, Time for learning again, once again, that is easy to do, and stays on course with the schools. If you're going to put your child back, you need to stay as humanly possible to what the school is doing as humanly possible. Um, but that's not going to be easy. So you're going to be stressed. Um, you can go to the bookstore and buy grade level workbooks. Um, and check your state's um, checklist of what they're doing for that grade and just keep on it. But yeah, I honestly recommend Time for Learning. What grade did she say? Third. Uh, See, third grade is super easy if you're homeschooling to be homeschooling and you want to keep homeschooling. Um, Third grade is super easy to me. Um, Math is going through multiplication, maybe a little fractions. You're increasing your reading fluency. You can Google what third grades are learning in history and science. It can be super easy. But if the goal is to get back into school, you really need to follow the school curriculum. Um, you might want to find a teacher. Ooh, you might want to find a teacher because a lot of teachers locally have pieced out for their health. So I think I'm done. My house is suddenly getting noisy. It's well after lunchtime and it's coming to life and it's getting super noisy. And so I don't think we're going to get much further than this. I hope this live question and answer session was helpful. And if you have any homeschool question at all that I have not addressed, put it in the comments and I will make a video that includes it. I promise. Until next time.